Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Hi, I'm Lisa Williams. Today, we have Tallulah Marcelin. Tulula is a 20-year veteran of the beauty industry with a reputation for innovative style and hair integrity techniques. Tulula is a celebrity hairstylist, makeup artist, and overall beauty and image maker. Her precision, professionalism, and perfectionist tendencies have become her hallmark as she consciously cuts, colors, and coughs each individual client in such a way that both personalizes and customizes their salon experience. Tulula is the owner of I Love Lulu Hair Spa, her signature salon located in Los Angeles, California, and the Growing Green Hair Spa located in Long Beach, California. Tulula also has her own natural holistic hair care line of the same name. Similarly gifted in the art of makeup application, Tulula has buffed and beautified some of the entertainment industry's most famous faces. Some of her most notable clients include Cuba Gooding Jr., Angela Bassett, Taraji P. Henson, Terrence Howard, Alfre Woodard, Courtney Vance, and tennis sensations Venus and Serena Williams, to name a few. Tulula is a supporter of healthy natural hair. Simply put, she is an expert in natural styling services. Though she specializes in natural hair, she also works with all hair care. Affectionately known as Lulu, Tulula has discovered the secrets to effectively eliminating the side effects, as she calls them, of popular styling techniques. She does this by creating a customized treatment plan for clients suffering from any number of hair and scalp maladies. Tulula is a graduate of the Carolina Beauty School in North Carolina and received advanced training in cosmetology at Mitchell's Beauty Salon and Hair Academy, and further trained in makeup artistry at MAC Cosmetics. Tulula currently services an ever-growing celebrity clientele in Los Angeles, where she resides with her husband and 3 children. Please welcome to the show, Tallulah Marcelin.
Hello, and thank you for having me.
We're glad to have you. Let's get started. Today, we're going to talk about the growing number of Black women in business, how we've evolved, and what it'll take to help African American women in business run successful businesses. Let's get started. Black women have always had an entrepreneurial spirit. From our great-grandmothers who cleaned houses for a living and sold fish dinners at churches, to the many African American women who rose to the tops of their industries, including Michelle Obama, the first African American First Lady of the United States, Sheila C. Johnson, founder of BET, becoming the first African American woman billionaire, Oprah Winfrey, having the #1 daytime talk show in America, Serena Williams, #1 in women's singles tennis, Janice Bryant, owner of the largest minority woman-owned employment agency in the United States, and Ursula Burns, the first African-American woman CEO of a Fortune 500 company. And of course, the list goes on and on. In fact, according to the 2015 State of Women-Owned Business Report, the number of women-owned businesses grew by 74% between 1997 and 2015. The report also stated that 33% of women-owned firms are owned by minority women, and Black females are amongst the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs in the U.S. It's wonderful to know that African American women entrepreneurs are the fastest growing segment of entrepreneurs in the U.S. What a great statistic. So it's important that we don't let this momentum die. Now, more than ever, African American women entrepreneurs need resources available to help them not just be in business, but grow in business. The biggest hurdle African American women business owners face is that many are first-generation entrepreneurs, and they lack exposure to other Black women in business that have successful businesses from which they can glean habits and proven processes from. Let's look at an example of just how important having a role model accessible to you can be. Here is what Jessica Alba, actress and CEO of The Honest Company, said about having someone that you can call on.
As far as mentors go, Countless. I was not shy about making phone calls to many people. I've been fortunate enough to know people like Tory Burch and Diane von Furstenberg, and they, got lots of emails and phone calls from me along the way with tears in my eyes saying, I don't know if this is possible. Why is everyone telling me no? What do I do? What does it even mean to get venture capital? What is venture capital? What's a board? Like, I just didn't know all these business terms. And so they helped me understand it. And it's nice having women that you can look to and rely on.
Incidentally, her husband, Cash Warren, a Yale graduate, producer, and tech investor, introduced Jessica to his childhood friend, Brian Lee, an entrepreneur who co-founded LegalZoom. And the women Jessica reached out to, Tory Burch, who is a New York fashion designer, and Diane von Furstenberg, who is a billion-dollar fashion designer. Unfortunately, most African-American women don't have the same access and connections that Jessica Alba was blessed with. Black female entrepreneurs need a supportive network of African-American women business owners that we can learn from. It's time to talk, share, and provide resources and roadmaps to Black women in business. We need successful mentors to inspire African-American women on their journey in business. I have lined up a variety of successful, prominent, and leading African-American women in business across many industries to share their paths and secrets to their success. They will discuss their journey not only as women in business, but more importantly, how they grew successful businesses in spite of the unique challenges faced by African-American women business owners. Forgive my cloudy voice, but the show must go on. So let's get into the show.
How do you feel about being a part of this historical time for African-American women in business?
Man, I definitely feel honored to have had the opportunity to gather resources and put my foot in the game, to use my expertise to not only continue to style and customize hair care, but to also leave my imprint as a successful business owner. So it is, definitely something that I intend to carry on and do well as long as I represent our community.
Excellent. So a good story isn't a good story until we can understand where you started. So how'd you get started in the business?
I would say, I have had some trouble with my hair personally as a youngster. My mom was a vegetarian, and she had a garden. My parents both. And my mom she raised us on a book called Back to Eden. And that is a book that really just supports natural health care and holistic health. So when I had some scalp problems, she referred to that book. And those issues really began to just kind of consume my life in some ways. As I became a teenager, still, they carried on. And once my mom was able to solve the problem, if you will, she encouraged me to go to beauty school. I originally was insistent upon being a nurse and then hoping to be a doctor after that. But my mom just saw something different in me, and I'm so glad that she encouraged that.
But actually, you are a doctor, a hair doctor.
You know what? I've heard that, and I've definitely accepted that title as well. So that's my story. Once I went to beauty college, I just really dove right in and put myself under people that I knew already knew the business. I didn't try to work on my own immediately, but as Black women in hair care, we kind of always have done it. I just took it a step further.
Excellent. So we spoke about it a bit in your intro, but who's your ideal client? Who can you help?
You know what? With the way I've focused my business at this point, focusing on natural hair care, my ideal client would be a client who is either still relaxed or is always wearing her hair in a traditionally straight style. So I love to have in my chair a client who is just unsure about going from straight to naturally curly, or sometimes even naturally frizzy. Sometimes the hair doesn't always curl up like we expect. But those are, the clients that I really support and can help.
Excellent. And what's a common misconception about going natural?
Wow, that's a big one. I guess the common misconception would be that it's not for me, or that's not my personality.
Mm-hmm.
I hear that a lot, that going natural, and even that it's going to be easy. It is quite a transition, but it's certainly not, doesn't have anything to do with personality, I would say.
Okay, that's excellent. So, as an African-American woman in business, let's talk about what your path has been like as you've navigated your entrepreneurship. What can you share with other women business owners about starting, staying, and sticking it through to reach a level of success in their business?
I would say starting, first of all, you're not always going to have some support. And I know when I was starting out, I, introduced to my family the idea and the concept, which was pretty much chemical free. It was something where, I had really specialized in, I guess, healthy hair with relaxer, as healthy as it could possibly be. After doing some research and deciding to go natural myself, and I realized that how bad it was for the hair and for the scalp, and that I wanted to stop that. So my family wasn't all in. They were like, what? You're going to need to at least do, a couple of relaxers here and there. Are you sure? So, as far as starting, just finding people that you're not always going to have support. So you really are going to have to believe in yourself and stick with your vision. But I was able, my husband was on board, and he knows nothing about hair care. So that was great. And then one of my other sisters, she was all in, and she helped me from the beginning. And then as far as staying the course, man, I think it's just like anything else. Sometimes you set out to do something and you really have no idea the obstacles that you're going to face. You couldn't even imagine all of them. And then also, if you knew about them, you probably would never start. So understand that, that there are going to be some things that you are not equipped, experience-wise to handle. But again, staying true to your vision and staying the course. And even if you make some mistakes, which you should allow yourself to be able to do that and not be so hard on yourself, then you'll be okay. And then as far as, once you get to a certain place, then you have all of those stories and all of those thoughts and those understandings to rely on. And then the experience just, helps you to understand that you can handle it.
That's excellent advice. And so, gosh, how many young women, especially African-American women, have an aspiration to do hair and or are doing hair? So can you speak for a moment about starting your business in hair care and owning your own shop? Anything that you might want to share?
Yeah, initially, again, I've been doing this for over 20 years, and I started out as a hair, started out braiding. That kind of goes back to, we all have done hair. Several of us in our community have had to braid hair or, put in your auntie's relaxer here and there. But when it came to starting a business, I didn't really see the money in it that I aspired to be able to attain, as a one of, working in several African American hair salons where we have owned our businesses for years. It just seemed kind of like, okay, maybe middle class at the most. So I didn't really want to own my own business. I figured, well, I can make more money on my own in doing celebrity hair. But once I got really heavy into that, then I kind of realized, well, this is not what I want to do either. So when I received the vision, I kind of call it a receiving, because I'm spiritually in line, and I believe that God gave me this vision specifically. So I could either say yes or no, and I decided to say yes. And once I said yes, I had no idea that going from relaxed to natural was on the come up, so to speak. I had
Right.
no idea because I was working in celebrity hair. I wasn't involved in salons, and I wasn't really a trendy person or a social media person. I was pretty much what I would consider out of the loop. But just a piece of advice that when you are given an assignment, I believe that God already has the people who have been asking for this fulfillment in the earth.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like you already, I guess when the student is ready, the teacher appears.
Right.
And I would consider my clients, in a sense, to be the student. So they've been asking for this. They've been asking for this service. And then I just began to grow from there. And it's been awesome ever since. I opened the doors with 0 clients because if you're doing celebrity hair, you mainly go to them.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had no clients on my roster.
And so let's speak about that just for a moment. How did you, everybody wants to know, how do you get celebrities? How did you go about getting celebrity clientele? And then once you opened your shop and had to grow your business, speak about how you began to accumulate those clients.
Well, when it came to celebrity clients, I know my craft and I know my business after moving to Los Angeles, California from North Carolina, where I was a MAC artist. I just said, you know what, I want to go after it. I transferred from MAC in North Carolina into Saks Avenue, working with MAC Cosmetics. And I was standing behind the counter, and in Saks Avenue, several celebrities are always in and out. And I'm like, I cannot be, first of all, a makeup artist for celebrities behind the counter, and I certainly can't do their hair from behind here. So I ended up quitting. And then I said, I'm going to take 3 months and get in the industry. And funny enough, a client of mine from North Carolina had, her dad was a producer. And she said, do you need a job? And I was like, wow. It was almost in the nick of time, like at the end of my 3-month period, which was a grace period that I had given myself. And she introduced me to her dad. I got on the set doing something that wasn't involved in hair, but I knew if I got on that set that I could talk my way into the rest of it. And then the rest is history.
Wow. Excellent. And so once you opened your salon and had to get everyday clients, how did you go about doing that?
Once I opened my salon, we really started with word of mouth. We have about 1,500 square feet, so just imagine that place being empty. We had 6 stations. We do some hydration steam treatment. So in the vision, I had a vision of 10 steamers. We could only fit 9, so we had 9 steamers going all the way across and no clients. But I just knew that they would come. So I just opened the doors, invited some friends and family out, and from word of mouth, literally that day on, we haven't missed a beat. My husband and myself took our savings and invested it all into the business, everything that we had. And we haven't suffered. We have only grown.
That is excellent. Excellent.
Oh, and let me add real quick, one of my clients who came to the salon, she was actually from my church, through word of mouth, she told us about Yelp.
Okay.
And from there, so I'd had no idea again. And she put us on Yelp and gave us a review, and man, it's just been, I would call it organic marketing from there, because we haven't really invested, much into marketing at all.
Wonderful.
Certainly not in those days. We were just trying to, stay open.
Yeah. And I appreciate your candor. That is exactly what this interview is about.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about what was hard for you. I mean, honestly, think of one of the most challenging times in your business. What was hard for you, and how did you overcome it?
What has been hard is acquiring good employees. I would say that has been my biggest challenge. I even finding people, in the entrepreneurial business of hair care. I mean, you're pretty much working for yourself. That is how the business is, in a sense, designed. All of them don't operate that way. But it certainly is one of those industries where you're the master stylist at some point. So I kind of think that we sometimes in our community feel like we can just, get a license and do everything on our own. Whereas my vision was more to support one another and not to be the quote unquote master stylist, but to have a master salon where that vision is shared, it's understood, and it is designed to support the client and to be consistent with their experience. So that is how I have set up my business. And with that, though, we have a certain technique that we use, and that doesn't always work out with people actually being able to, I guess, to kind of test you and challenge you, doing it, one way.
Right.
So that has been my biggest challenge, the employees. And then
when you say employees, are you speaking of your independent contractor operators?
Yeah. So
Other
they're actually
hairstylists?
employees. Other hairstylists, they're not independent contractors.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But, and then a sidebar to that, I would say, having to do everything myself.
Yes.
Sometimes when you don't have that, working capital, you are just, you're marketing, you're doing the hair, you're the receptionist, you're the manager, you're, human resources.
Yes.
You're the designer. And my God, you're the handyman. No, I'm kidding. But, I did have my husband for the handyman.
Right.
But like I said, when you don't have that working capital, then everything falls on you. It's like, okay, I got to do payroll by this time. Then I got to work on Saturday, and I got to do, and don't add children to the mix. My goodness.
Right. And again, that is so important to share because so many young girls and women currently aspiring, getting their license, wanting to own their own shop, we have a tendency to look at the glamorous side and not even consider those details day in and day out that you just described.
Yeah, and we don't operate our business under a booth rental model. I'm not suggesting that it's anything wrong with that, but under our model, we are branding, again, based on healthy hair care. One main reason is that we don't have enough strong natural hair care stylists. This is in a sense, a new road that we're taking, other than unless you're wearing your hair in locks or braids, but to just wear your hair without anything added to it and just coif that as it is. We're still growing in that area. So we really need to, that's one of my reasons for training the stylists as so, because that is certainly the way our community is redirecting themselves, and we certainly want to be able to offer those services on a larger scale. And
you bring
really
up a very good
that.
point, especially with us being here in California.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
So weaving is not one of our services that we offer. It's something that we, in some ways or in a lot of ways discourage. We're definitely supporting natural hair care, not because it's a trend, but it certainly should be a good option. And to understand and know your hair in its natural state is our goal. And again, we don't put pressure on people who haven't come to that understanding or that realization, or even that, even settled on that as being an option. We just want to be there for you when you do.
What about braiding? Is that considered natural?
Oh, yeah, certainly. Braiding and, any extensions, I guess people kind of in some ways consider natural. We just don't encourage that you use them for long periods of time because the gravity of added hair just weighs on the follicle. And over time, it weakens. And, of course, we're trying to keep our hair as long as possible.
Absolutely. So we have other black women that have accomplished great successes, like those I mentioned earlier. Other ones, Taraji P. Henson, Kamala Harris, Shonda Rhimes, and countless others. Can you share a nugget to help women that are just starting a business?
I would say write your vision. And a lot of times, people say, well, I need a business plan. Do I have to have a business plan? What is that? But really your vision is your business plan. You just kind of don't know it. And you need to have it on paper. So I would certainly say write it down and then do some research and figure out what is needed, why it's needed, and, whether it's a product or a service. And then understand if you're really passionate about it because it's something that you're trying to make a difference in, whether it be your community or people's lives, what is your passion behind doing it, or are you just doing it because, you can earn good money? So sometimes it doesn't last all the way. You can't really see it all the way through if it's based on money. So I would definitely say write down your vision, make it very obvious to yourself. And when you put it in black and white, you can see it a lot better rather than just in your head. And then, again, do your research. And then after that, go for it. Give yourself, an opportunity to jump and to leap and to go into something that you won't know whether you can do it or not until you go.
So true. And what would you say, Tallulah, is most important to have a successful business?
Well, you definitely need some finances. You need some finances, but when it comes to things that are not material integrity, that's
Tallulah, there's some background noise. Can you say that again?
Okay, sorry about that. Integrity is very important for myself, and the way I run my business is actually one of my interview questions for potential employees. But having integrity, doing what you say you're going to do, no matter the cost. And that precedes money and finances, and, it really establishes a great reputation for yourself.
And a basis for a successful business.
Say that again?
And it establishes a basis for a successful business.
Absolutely. And then when you are or do come into your financial opportunity, then you know how to handle it.
Excellent. Now, if you could share something with your younger self, let's say 15 years ago, about being in business, what would it be?
It would be not to quit a job so fast. Not to, whether, you might say, well, this person made me mad, or I've worked several jobs since being a teenager. I started working at 14. Prior to that, I was doing hair. But, various times and reasons I decided to leave. And I would say to my younger self, find out who the owner is and work up under them. If you can't get to the owner, get to the manager. Even if you learn some things that you would consider, oh, I wouldn't do it that way, or that's not right. At least learn that. And then you won't have those things will carry with you. And they'll stay with you if you learn them. So I would just say don't quit, don't give up, and don't let other people on your job affect your opportunity. So working for someone else is not, it's not a bad thing. It's a lot that you can learn, especially on your journey or aspiration to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah, basically use that opportunity purposefully.
Exactly, and use every opportunity purposefully, even if it's, seems negative. It's like, well, at least you won't do that, or you shouldn't do that.
Right. So, as I explained in the introduction, one of the greatest challenges African American women face in business is the lack of successful African American women role models in our communities. So let's talk now specifically about the unique challenges African American women business owners face. And I have a list of 6 or 7, and I don't know if you pre-picked one or not, but I'm just going to kind of briefly go through them. Oh, good. Sure. Okay. Well, for the audience, I'll briefly go through what some of those challenges are. And then if you can share on one with your experience, I'd appreciate that. So one is family, that they didn't understand your entrepreneurial walk. Another is friends. Friends may not have owned their own businesses and were able to understand or give you advice. Another is no role model to call on. Many of us are from first-generation entrepreneur families and sometimes don't have that role model. Business terms and acumen. Many African-American business owners don't know the meaning of important business terms. Seeking capital. Not only do we not know what's required sometimes to seek or raise capital, but, the importance of creditworthiness or characterworthiness. And the big one, juggling being a single parent or being a single woman, that, period, the role of a woman, any woman being in business, as well as some of the challenges unique to African American women in business, being a single parent or woman. Lacking relationships, not knowing successful business owners. Investing in ourselves. Unfortunately, as a community, we don't tend to attend personal development seminars. And lastly, volunteering. We're not taught, as some other cultures, to constantly give back and volunteer. Most of the time when we see that, that's primarily in our churches that we do any type of volunteering. So which one of those resonates with you?
Well, for sure, a lot of them I can relate to.
Sure.
Because they have, I could tell a story on each of them, but what stood out to me the most is a no role model to call on.
Okay.
When you were speaking earlier and communicating with the audience about Jessica Alba's story, I'm very familiar with it. And you did shed some light on some things that I didn't know. And, it saddened me to some extent, because I understand that, in a sense, we're pioneering for the next generation. And we really need to reach out and help each other. And it's something that I would love to have been privy to in my beginning years. And I'm only 5 years in, so I still welcome
sure
any advice and any, definitely any, socializing with people of the same idea and the same concept as far as entrepreneurs are concerned. But it's something that I didn't have. My mother's family owned a hair salon, and they were one of the first black hair salons in Baltimore, Maryland. Very successful, but they were all passed on by the time I came around. So I didn't get that mentorship. And again, it's something that you really could use, especially when it comes to resources and connections.
Yeah.
And just someone to call on again in the middle of the night, or email even, and find out, can you help me through, can you walk me through staying in?
Yes.
And not giving up? Can you shed some light on, an experience that you've had, whatever it may be, a conversation, or just knowing that someone else did it personally?
Yeah.
That is
and
just,
made it through.
Exactly. And made it through. then, so that's something that when it comes to my employees, we recently had this past Christmas, a Christmas party, and I suggested to all of them, I told them some of the things that I'm looking to carry in the salon or some things that I'm looking to do with the salon. And I'm like, you might not only be a hairstylist. So if it's any craft that you might have or something that you can do on the side or another opportunity that, you would like to explore, or another, something creatively that you would like to explore beyond doing hair, I want to be able to come to you first. Tell me what you're good at on the side, because I can at least use those services right within our own first, and then, maybe reach out to other companies or, when it comes to something as simple as hair ties and hair bows and, certain things that you can just, it's a lot of DIYers out there, and we like to use a lot of local artists to make hair scarves and hair bows and accessories and things like that. So, and I also tell them to make sure, ask me anything. I try to be very transparent, and I try to encourage them to, again, like I would have told myself, stick close to the owner, stick close to the boss, find out the ups and downs, find out the ins and outs, find out how to communicate what your needs are and what you're struggling with, and, let's get some answers so that you can surpass me even.
That's great advice. And so my next question was with regard to growing up in an entrepreneurial home. And so you had entrepreneurs in your lineage, but you didn't get the benefit of learning that side, that part of the business. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And do you think, I guess you would say that it probably made it a little bit more difficult not being able to see that shop run in Baltimore and ask the questions of your family members?
Exactly. My mom has a lot of good stories. She grew up in that actual salon herself. And it turns out I'm doing a lot of the things that were very similar to the way her auntie runs the salon. But, it's not exactly the same. You still need to, be able to work with someone directly and talk to someone directly. So maybe there should be some sort of mentorship program developed as a result of this, what you're trying to do here. But certainly needing, a shoulder to lean on. But I was blessed to be able to have a supportive husband who has, he's been a contractor for over 25 years, and his experience in having his own business, not brick and mortar, but certainly working for people and serving people and growing and building his successful business has really helped me along the way. And then my sister, who had no background in hairstyling, but just a creative artist, have decided to partner with me from the very beginning, and we're still partners.
That's excellent. So there are many articles online about entrepreneurs and their success stories or challenges that they had to overcome. But sometimes it's hard to find current-day women and what they've gone through, and definitely not specific articles sharing what African-American businesswomen have gone through outside of celebrities. So what did you do when you got stuck, overwhelmed, ran out of money, and possibly felt like quitting?
Well, since there were no articles, I prayed. No, but, prayer has been a foundation for me. And so that's what I usually start with, because I have taken on and, really adapted to, there's a saying out there, His will, His bill. So I really had to pray, and then I would start with in line, reaching out to my husband. I do have a few friends, clients that have recently started venturing into owning their own businesses, and we chat sometimes. But really, I can't say that since without that strong support system, you have to be strong yourself, and you have to, have someone that you can call on to give you strength. And then it is usually not as bad as it seems. I've missed deadlines, I would even dare say I've missed some opportunities, at least technically. But then when it comes down to it, and, if I go on the spiritual side of it, those things have come around again, and I've gotten a second chance.
Yes.
And I've maintained the integrity that I started with, and that has allowed me that second chance. And I just really I've had those challenges here recently, I would say, but earlier, or in the latter part of February, I started out remodeling my salon, or just really fixing it up and adding some things to it. And why did I start that? I have 3 kids, 4 and under, and it was also
3 kids,
here.
4 and under.
Yes.
You are ambitious.
Yeah, none of them are in school. My oldest is just about to go to preschool.
Okay.
So, yeah, exactly, ambitious. And I'm like, why did I start this? Oh, my God. And I will say, though, with prayer, God always sends someone to encourage you.
Yes, he does.
And several times I have my clients just randomly would pull me to the side and say something to me to let me know that they need the services that we're offering. And my goodness, it could bring you to tears. It's like, wow. It's like, so I do have to hang in there, because you're not just serving yourself, and you're not just serving your own purpose, but you're serving a need for others. Necessity is the mother of invention. And when you do find a way, nothing is new under the sun. We're just all finding different ways to put a spin on need and necessity. And that's how I look at my salon, because certainly natural hair is not new. We've always had it.
Right.
I'm just helping you to understand it and deal with it better. And again, God will send someone to encourage me over and over and over again and say, you guys are doing a great job. Because it's like, I'm the designer, I'm the manager, I'm the human resource, I'm everything.
Yeah, that's quite a bit. And so basically, you were building these salons over this same 5-year period that you were having children.
Yes, and how funny is that? It's so funny. My goal was to be a stay-at-home mom.
Okay.
At least for, until my children went to school. And I wanted to have 3 children. And the first 3 years of my marriage, I wasn't able to conceive. So then I got bored. And I'm like, oh, my gosh. Oh, let me do something. I guess I can, that's when I had the vision about the hair salon. And I knew it was from God, and, it was something I wanted to do. So I immediately started planning. I opened in January 2011, and I found out I was pregnant in April.
Wow.
And I'm like, oh, what? So I really do think, though, that was all perfectly aligned, because if I was to just be a stay-at-home mom, and the good thing is, too, about owning your own business, I have set it up where I have the flexibility to be very involved in my children's lives.
Excellent.
And I think I wouldn't be as fulfilled not doing what I was purposed and created to do. So I definitely appreciate the way things have lined up.
That's great. And so, Tallulah, what didn't you have when you were building your business that you wish you would have had in retrospect?
In retrospect, oh, man. Well, I don't wish I had more money. And I say that on purpose because I think I would have done more unnecessary things. But I do wish I had a mentor.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, really, it goes back to a mentor. Though I'm not regretful, because I do believe that there's a bright side to that too. Maybe I would have depended too much on the mentor, but I don't think a guide, the right guide, is going to steer you too wrong. But I certainly, I think I could have got some good value out of that.
Okay.
And I do kind of secretly have a mentor.
Oh, great.
They just don't know it.
How about that? Because you don't always have to spend direct time with a mentor. It's so true.
Exactly.
So let's have a little fun. I'm going to complain here a bit. Our black businessmen, they're showing us out, and that's not going to work. Tyler Perry has shared his homeless to success story. Eric Thomas, the motivational hip-hop preacher, has the homeless to PhD story. So us ladies, we've got to get our stories out and document it so African-American, women in business have some inspiration when they're feeling low and are searching online to learn what other women did in challenging times. So together, I want to take a moment and figure out with you what your rags to riches story or what your hero story is. Does anything come to mind for you?
Well, yeah, certainly. My mom used to always tell me, where your misery is, that's where your ministry is. So I definitely started out, we were what I would consider poor. And, but my mom was really there and available, and she nurtured us to a place that, got us all, my sisters and myself, it's 5 of us, got us all creatively inspired. And that's where it all, began for me. And I've been involved in my craft, for over 20 years. And that's my inspiration, basically, not having anything.
Yeah.
Except a horrible scalp. And we can
go there. From scalp challenges, from hair challenges to hair salon. Something like that. From hair challenges to hair salon owner.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, from hair issues to hair ownership.
Yeah, that's excellent. I love that. So switching directions just for a moment, today there's a lot of talk about collaboration. What are your thoughts on collaboration instead of competition?
Absolutely, please. And I'm not just saying that because that's the right answer. Obviously, you wouldn't be asking me if you thought competition was
some people love it.
Problem. Yeah, I believe that competition kills creativity. So there a couple of people around the corner from me who was opening up around the same time and doing something very similar. And in the beginning there, when I was, not as strong as I was in my vision and in my purpose, I got a little sidetracked, and I'm like, oh, let me see what they're doing. And then I remembered, wow, more power to you.
Right.
There's enough for everybody. Competition kills creativity. I am looking for partners. I am looking for people to help and help me get this vision out to its fullest extent and opportunity, because it's not just about me receiving accolades and recognition for being the creator of it. It's more how many people are we reaching?
Right.
And I love collaboration. That's something that I am, definitely open to. Finding the time to do it.
Different challenge.
But I definitely think, it's something that, I'm trying to focus and structure my business to get to a place where I can grow it from the inside out.
That's great. One of the things I share with business owners, especially women, is how they can succeed without having to compete by implementing the power of positioning and leveraging the media to build their brand. And that's part of what my business does, because kind of like what you said, when you start focusing too much on what your competition is doing, you're basically taking your eyes and energy off of your business. And there's plenty for everyone.
Exactly. There's enough to go around. I cannot service everyone in my business in particular.
Even if you wanted to.
Even if I wanted to, not without burning myself out. And my goal is not to destroy myself just to get more wealth.
Right.
It's really just to have the opportunity to share that and to create jobs in our community, strengthen our community, strengthen our network of people, and then, support it, give back. So collaborating, yes, 100%.
Wonderful. So, Tallulah, how do you think we can move forward and turn that growing number of African American women in business into successful million, multi-million, and billion-dollar businesses?
I think opening up our mouths and sharing our stories, even from the smallest, business owner to the largest, sharing our stories, communicating with people who aspire to do the same thing. Even if it's just an email, responding to them, helping them, and telling them yes. Usually I'll, for the clients that sit in my chair, I'll ask them, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you love to do? Is that what your purpose is? And we just kind of start, on a little roller coaster of a conversation, and it's like, oh, this is great. We're just communicating about it and strengthening one another. So definitely using our voices and kind of raising our hand and letting someone know, hey, I'm out here. I'm doing it, and then supporting each other's businesses first.
Yes. And what is your best piece of advice for other African American women entrepreneurs building their business and those that may be struggling with finding capital or considering quitting or going back to getting a job?
Well, I would say when it comes to struggling, don't make it any excuses for yourself. So make sure you do everything within your power. And then after you've done that, just wait. When it comes to, maybe needing another job or going to another, going back to work, you really have to weigh those things out personally. But if you did decide to do that and you can't let go of your vision, then that means you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
Allow yourself, though, some of those failures, some of those times of giving up. For me, I never gave up, but never is relative,
Right.
I have to do that every day. Every day I have to say, even though my business is very successful now, it's still, okay, I'm really tired. Okay, my kids need this. My kids need that. Should I be doing this instead? And, but don't have to go through the same lessons twice. Basically learn that lesson, and as soon as you hear you maybe should give up, just refuse that thought. So I'll keep going back to the drawing board with that question. And then my last piece of advice is never do anything based on money. Don't make any decisions based on money, because those, money can come, it can be available to you, and then it can all go. So don't make any of your decisions based on money.
Wonderful.
So if you don't have any money, if you do all your homework, write it out, lay it out, voice it out, talk it out, the money, I believe, will come.
That's great inspiration. So
Yes.
What impact would you like to make as an African American woman in business over the next 10 years?
Over the next 10 years, I would definitely like to expand my locations, and I would like to create jobs. Right now, we manufacture our own products, and that's quite a bit of work to do on your own. But it is something that I would like to expand into a manufacturing facility, because manufacturing facilities create a good and substantial amount of jobs. So instead of sending my product out to a manufacturing facility, I would like to own that.
Nice.
And have it right in my my community, or the African American community. And that'll help to create jobs, and it'll also help to inspire people, give them insight on how it's really all done and how it's really all created. That was always a curiosity of mine.
And so many of us don't get the chance to see that.
We don't get the chance to see it. And then when our eyes are open and we have better exposure, then we can find our passion. It's like if I only see this around me, and if this is all that people are doing around me, I might not even know that I want to be a chemist. That might not even come across my plate. You know, we're all familiar with the term attorney, doctor, you know, even astronaut, but it's like you might just want to be, you know,
something else.
It's something else. And I really quickly, when I work for MAC Cosmetics, they always have great, fun, creative names for the lipsticks and the glosses and everything that they do. And I was always curious about, man, who does this? And they said, that's an actual position, a job.
Wow.
And I'm like, wow, that's what you get to do. Look at something, play with something, feel something, smell something, and then name it.
Yeah.
And I was so inspired by that. And guess what? Now I name all the products myself.
And you created that job for yourself.
Exactly. So, you know, with that exposure and that understanding, that's something, you know, just all we need is exposure. So
exposure is my favorite word. So you're,
yes,
I couldn't have said it better.
Oh, so we got it done together then.
How about that? So you alluded to you having a mentor. My next question is, do you have a mentor at this juncture in your business? And so can you speak a bit about that mentor that may not even know they are your mentor?
Well, I don't know if you're familiar with the Dry Bar.
No.
But that is the business model. They actually started very close to the time, when I opened my business, and that's a young lady from California, and it started here in California, 2009, I believe they opened, and we were in the final stages of planning the business in 2009, and I remember my mom said, turn on the news and look and see, and she said she's doing something very similar to what you're doing. Basically, they just, you know, style the hair, that's their focus. Our focus is healthy hair, but we're similar in that we have the service is minimal cost. All of our treatments are $35, and they're geared towards people with hair, period. We have, I guess since I'm African American, we have a lot of people cling to that, and they're like, oh, great, they're African American, they can do my hair. So that is what our clientele base is, but we do get all ethnicities and races and backgrounds of people with any type of hair. But we focus on naturally curly and textured hair. But they have about 46, I want to say, locations.
Okay.
In that short period of time. And that is my inspiration, because I believe that we need that many, if not more, locations to really, you know, grow in the natural hair community.
I love it. And do you have a suggestion for Black women in business on how to approach or seek a mentor? Let's say someone that was aspiring to do hair, how would you want to be approached as a mentor?
As a mentor, I certainly, we have an apprenticeship program where a lot of students go to traditionally cosmetology school and they obtain a cosmetologist license. Well, I found out about the apprenticeship program, which is where you go to school twice a month and you work in a salon. And I think that is the best way to obtain a license.
Yeah.
To do an apprenticeship with a salon. And if someone approached me and said they love doing hair and they would love to do hair, then that would be exactly what I would tell them. Please go through the apprenticeship program. It's a 2-year program. And here you can learn all the good things about healthy hair, about natural hair. And I would certainly recommend that program to anybody. And you can do it. You have to find a hairstylist or a salon owner that is willing to allow you to apprentice under them.
Okay.
But in my industry, in my business, that is the best way to be mentored. And you obtain your license after 2 years. And then you've already gone through, first of all, you haven't paid as much for school. I think you pay under $1,000 for the whole program, plus you get paid.
Nice.
And that makes much more sense than getting into debt, $20,000+ for a 10-month period of a program, and you're not getting paid.
And you're not getting on-hand experience.
You're not getting that experience, and then when you come out of school, then you still have to go somewhere and intern.
Mm-hmm.
Because now
Excellent.
You need the experience. So the apprenticeship program, yay.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely.
And Tallulah, do you have 5 success tips for us today?
Yeah, I do have some success tips. Let me see. I did jot some things down. I think we went over these earlier, so I'll just sum them up. My first tip would be write your vision. In order to be successful, you definitely need to know what you're trying to be successful at, and you need to see it and remind yourself of it. Number 2, I would say research. Research who's doing it, what it takes, and how you can make an impact, and how you can join the business that you're trying to obtain. And then number 3, I would say start. Go towards it. Don't even hesitate. Don't linger too long. Don't talk yourself out of it. And then number 4, I would say stay focused. When you're focused, you can be successful at anything. You just need to set your mind to it. And I'm sure it sounds cliche, and we hear that all the time, but if you take that literally, you'll see big results. And number 5, I would say have integrity. Integrity has brought me more success than I could imagine. And I actually don't even know how I really kind of came across that. But it's something that I was definitely taught as a child. I just didn't really, it wasn't linked with the word integrity.
How about that?
A lot of times I ask people, what's integrity mean? And they have no idea.
Uh-huh.
So I think research, find out what that means, and do it, and be it, and live it, and you'll definitely be successful.
Excellent. Thank you so much for taking the time to give back and share your journey as a Black woman in business. Where can our listeners find out more information about you, Tallulah?
They can go to our website at iloveluluhairspa.com. And then you can follow us on Instagram and Twitter under the same.
Excellent. So thank you for joining the show. And everyone remember, lead with value and the revenue will follow.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.